afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today you have myself, Captain Coop. I am missing my wonderful talent, Mr. Major McFarland. He has to deal with a client issue. So he will be joining us hopefully here in a little bit. But today we wanted to talk a little bit about working retail. Yes, Brian, thank you for joining us. It is the solo Coop. It is just me for right now. But like I said, hopefully, as soon as he's done dealing with what he's got to deal with, he'll be joining us in. So there's always the hope there that you guys will get the secondary. Otherwise, it's just me. So I appreciate you guys joining us today. But like I said, we want to talk a little bit about retail and given the holidays and kind of give a little bit of do's and don'ts, some advice, some things that we've run into, and then answer some questions that you guys have about working retail. So again, thank you guys for joining us. And we'll kind of get into it right now. So working retail in the during any holiday is always kind of stressful. You'll run into it more with holidays like Christmas, 4th of July, stuff like that, where there are an abundance of wanting to buy things. You get some of it with Thanksgiving too, due to the food rush and everybody wanting to get enough for Thanksgiving. Most everybody will get that out of the way early for Thanksgiving. But for Christmas, for some reason, we always run into that Christmas rush where everybody wants to buy everything last minute. Me being one of those. I don't buy anything until the week before, and I use Amazon. It's easier, makes life simple. But you still get those individuals that like to go to retail stores and just bum rush everybody. So some things to kind of keep in mind when it comes to working retail. And no, Lulu won't get a discount. No. So the things with kind of working retail, some kind of things to keep in mind. Everybody's going to be in a mad rush. They're going to be panicked, or they're going to not be thinking clearly. And so you want to keep that in mind when you're dealing with them. If you've got an upset individual who doesn't like the pricing or doesn't like management's deals or whatever the case may be, we always want to make sure and use a calming demeanor and try and talk them down and de-escalate the situation and get everybody back on an appropriate level. That's the biggest thing that you're going to run across when it comes to security, is that de-escalation technique. Now, we've got a couple of videos in the past about it where we talk a little bit about de-escalation and stuff. And that's probably going to be the number one biggest tool that you can use when it comes to these things. And so de-escalation is the prime thing that you want to keep to. If you need help with that and you're a Titan officer, reach out to us. We'll help you with some de-escalation techniques and things to say. But you want to use that de-escalation to kind of get everybody back down to a reasonable level and talking to each other. Something else to keep in mind is, if you've got two patrons fighting over something, then that's completely separate. But we use the same techniques. Use that de-escalation to get everybody on the same page, and to keep that fighting to a minimum, because it's going to happen. It happens every year. That you hear about it. And so you just want to do as much of that as possible to kind of keep that to a minimum. One thing you want to keep in mind is we've seen a pickup with this is they'll use that as a diversion. So keep that in mind. You want to be careful with where you're going and how often you're leaving the front, if that's where you're supposed to be posted, because that will leave a gateway for someone to walk out with stuff. Charles, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. And keep that stuff there. So we shouldn't really be a security if your main function is there as a visible deterrent in the front against theft and things like that. We really shouldn't be leaving unless there's an immediate necessity and emergency. We shouldn't really be leaving that area, because that's where we're going to be. That's where we're going to be able to be the most useful. Now, obviously, things are going to take us away from that if we have to and stuff like that. So we got to keep that stuff in mind. But you can always also call for secondary, call for help, and get a backup officer en route. Our supervisors, patrol officers, and everything like that. Gary, thanks for joining us. Are always going to be willing to help if necessary and come out and help you handle those situations. So, but that de-escalation is going to be the number one tool for that. Some things to keep in mind with the holidays as well for some do's is stay observant. You'll notice a lot more theft during this time as well. People trying to get that 5-finger discount. So that picks up during this season. So we want to keep a little bit more of an eye out for that stuff. Obviously, that's not our prime directive. They have loss prevention who does this, and we want to assist them to the best of our capacity, but we don't want to take away from what we're doing. So we want to keep that in mind. When it comes to some other do's, staying observant. But the big one there, besides de-escalation, is appearance. If you look disheveled, if your uniform is not clean, it's not put on right, it all plays into a role. And so if someone rolls in and they see a security officer or an off-duty law enforcement officer and everything looks the par, then they're going to be less likely because they know that you're on it and they know that you're paying attention. Something else that works with that as well is greeting everybody. As everybody walks in saying good morning, good afternoon, excuse me, little things like that play a huge role into it because it shows that you're paying attention. Wishing them a good night, good evening as they leave. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on. But things like that play a huge role in how that stuff all works out. So if we're keeping an eye on and we're being attentive and we're being observant, we're being greeted we're greeting and we're being pleasant about it, all of those play a huge role in that de-escalation. They all play a huge role in that visible deterrent against the crime. Some don'ts, or some of the normal don'ts that we run into, don't be on your cell phone. Don't be leaning up against the wall. Some of the basic stuff that you run across, you'll see it from time to time from security officers. If you're walking around, you'll see one on their phone and stuff like that. And it puts a bad eye on it. So we don't want to be doing those things, especially during these holiday seasons. Because it shows that it shows that you don't care. It shows that you're not paying attention to what's going on around you, and it leaves you and everyone around you open for something to go wrong, and that's what we don't want. So be observant, be kind, all the normal stuff that you see that way, but be attentive to what's going on around you, and that paying attention really pays off. I can't tell you how many stores I worked. I started at stores and stuff like that, and being attentive as they walk in and saying hello and wishing them a good morning and that little chit chat right there is enough to kind of, I don't know if I want to do this today at this place. This guy's kind of paying attention to what's going on. And so that little thing, that one little phrase is, it takes it to a whole new level because now like I said, now they know you're paying attention. Some other things about retail when you're coming into the holiday season is with everybody being in a rush and everything like that, they're going to want to push through each other and things. So you just want to maintain the calmness of where you are the best you can. And that's that de-escalation that I just kind of brought up a little bit ago. And that's going to be how you talk to somebody. The biggest thing I always tell our new hires and people that are just starting in this, and something that was told to me, is you talk to somebody like you want to be talked to. So I will, obviously I will, to introduce myself. Hey, I'm Josh. I work for Titan Protection. Here's what I'm here for. And I introduce myself because that's the expectation. That's what I want someone to do to me. I wouldn't want just someone to walk up and start yelling at me. I don't raise my voice. I'll enunciate if necessary to get someone's attention, but you never raise your voice. You don't yell. There's no need for it. You can get your point across without doing that. So yelling is just going to cause them to, excuse me, it's just going to cause them to kind of go overboard on their own. And that's what I don't want. I want to keep them calm. I want to keep them from going irate. And so that calm demeanor, talking to, like another person, just use it with respect. Respect, a lot of people say respect is earned. When it comes to a situation like this, respect is given. I give them the respect in hopes that they give me the same back. Not everybody's going to, of course, but that's the hope behind it, is that I get the same respect back that I'm giving out. And when I'm talking to them, they will bring it back down to my level. They will be polite about it, and we can figure that out and talk. For a better way of saying it, the only way I can think of saying it is to talk like adults. I'm going to talk to them the same way I expect them to talk to me, and the same way I expect a security officer or another security officer to talk to me as well. That's a big one, is treating somebody the same way you want to be treated. That old adage. But those are the kind of the main things to do when it comes to that type of thing. So keep that in mind when you're talking to some of these individuals that are getting a little irate or a little loud, a little louder than normal and stuff like that. That's kind of how we want to do that. We want to keep them engaged. We want to keep them down to our level. We don't ever want to go up to their level. And like I said, there's a difference between yelling and enunciating and bringing your voice to a condition where they can understand and focus on you, and yelling. There's no need to yell. Yelling is inappropriate. You shouldn't be doing it. It's not necessary. Not for what we do, at least. So you shouldn't have to do it. Obviously, there are going to be times where that might change, or yelling is something that happens, but we don't want to raise to their level. We always want to bring everybody down to a calm demeanor. So other than that, I don't really have any crazy stories about holidays. Never have. They've always gone I've always done fairly well on the holidays. I generally work every holiday. I have a guest. Miss April is here to join me. I take it that means Mr. McFarland is not going to be making it.
Yes, they have a situation to handle.
Yeah, he made me clear on that. So I'm going to turn your microphone up. So everybody give April a round of applause. Yay, April.
Hi. You get ratchet, April, because April was not prepared.
You weren't supposed to be here, but that's fine. You're great.
No, sorry.
It's fine. I like having you on the podcast. You have good banter back and forth. And everybody seems to like you more than they like me, so I'm happy with that too.
It just furthers the rumors.
Yeah. So tired of those. So we're just talking a little bit about retail during the holidays, we all have some fun experiences, but one of the things I was, I talked about a couple of things, but one of the big things I brought up with retail is you want to talk to somebody in a calm demeanor. You want to bring them down to your level. You don't ever want to get as excited as they are. If they're screaming and yelling, you don't want to start screaming and yelling. You can use enunciate your voice or project your voice loud to get their attention, but you want to bring it back down to a calm demeanor, and you want to use that de-escalation to kind of bring them back down from that irate form and just kind of talk to them like person to person. Introduce yourself, let them know who you are, and show them respect in hopes that they give it back. Because most of the population will. 99% of the people that we deal with, if you show them that, they'll give it back to you. It's that 1% that's out there that's going to, if they want to be irate, they're going to be irate. We talk about that a lot. We've talked about that before with training and stuff like that, where you have that 1% that's come in with a decision that I'm going to make someone's life miserable. There's nothing anybody can do to change that.
I just desire to be rude today.
Yeah. But we're talking about the 99% that don't. The 99% that what is going on is a heat of the moment exchange, and they can be talked down. You can bring them back down to a regular level and talk to them.
Well, and so one of my favorite, I would say, quotes that I've heard, I do my best to apply every day, is just be kind to everyone, because everyone is fighting some type of battle. That's not saying that it's comparing to the things you're going through or what someone else is going through, but at the end of the day, everyone is dealing with some type of battle, whether it be minuscule to you or major. So, and especially with such a stressful time of year, I used to be a manager for Foot Locker. I mean, I had my life threatened over a pair of Jordans. So that tells you how stressful things can be. But
I'm over here happy with my $20 pair of skater shoes
right.
and my work boots.
And one thing to also keep in mind is there are a lot of people where this is the hardest time of year for them because they don't have family. They don't have friends. They don't have someone to wake up on Christmas with. Some people have dealt with loss. Therefore, that family is missing, not by choice, but, by accidental purpose. But, and a lot of that can fuel a lot of the anger and frustration. Yeah,
absolutely.
And sadness that you might run into. So just try to understand they're not attacking you. I mean, some of them might be, but the general consensus is if someone's having a bad day, it's just a bad day. It's not directed towards you. You just happen to be in the path.
Yeah. And that's something too to tag in on is, given the fact that, some of these holidays that we deal with are family orientated, not everybody. I don't have family here. I'm lucky enough to have some friends that absolutely refuse to let me do holidays on my own. They know who they are. They know that they know that they drag me to every one of them. And because I don't have family, they refuse. It's an absolute refuse. I tried to refuse Thanksgiving, and they said that if I didn't show up willingly, they would show up and basically kidnap me. And they've got a nice van, so I have a belief they would do it.
They could write free margaritas on the side, and I would be or tacos, and I'd jump right in. Well, and to add on to that too, I do want to take the time to address the fact that Coop, and did Leon attend too? I think right on Thanksgiving. Coop spent almost his entire holiday of Thanksgiving, went out of his way. Coop purchased Thanksgiving for everybody and then brought it out to you in the field rather than being at home in his comfy pajamas.
I passed that baton on, the taking it out. Now I spent the first 4.5 hours, 5 hours of my day getting the food, prepping it, making sure it was set up and everything that way. But I passed the baton on transport to the supervisors we currently have, because and the reason I did it, because I actually got asked about that, and not to try and toot my own horn or anything, but the reason I pass that torch on is because I don't have that same relationship with the officers that our supervisors do. Yeah. I'm not the one they see in the field anymore. Back when I was in the field every day, I was the one delivering that food.
Well, but ultimately, this is your baby. You started this how many years ago?
I think we're on 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
So
this was the 5th year.
I can tell you, I've never been with a company prior to Titan that made sure if I was working that I got Thanksgiving dinner.
You know what's funny? I started that on a whim. I did it. I just did it. The first year I did it, I just went out and did it. I asked Leon, I said, hey, you think I can get away with this? And he goes, I think that's a good idea. So I went out.
Sure, you can get away with it. Go ahead.
And so I went out and did it. We were much smaller at the time. I have to double it next year. We almost ran out.
My gosh.
I got to double it next year. But so I went out, I bought food, bought the plates, the napkins. I bought everything you could ever want. I mean, I bought that was my phone. I bought the big plastic sturdy plates. And I went all out. I had 4 drinks. I mean, everything, non-alcoholic because you're on shift. But I mean, I had everything you could want. And I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. And when I had to explain it the first time, like, why did you do this? I was like, I thought it'd be nice for the officers who were on shift. And they're like, well, how did it go? I go, well, I didn't come back with any food. Like, I came back with some, but patrol ate it all. And they were like, so it went well? And I was like, yeah, everybody seemed to like it. Over the next month, we got a bunch of compliments on how everybody was so happy about it. And then it made them feel better about working on Thanksgiving. And I was like, so can I do this again? They're like, yeah, that's fine.
Well, I mean, for me, just it brings up so much morale. Like, just to have a company that cares so deeply about their employees, and to have someone who created this brainchild with no input from other people, but like, you started this, and now it has, in my opinion, it's now a Titan tradition that our officers get Thanksgiving.
And the funny part about it is it's so much of a Titan tradition. I've straight told the last 2 bosses that were over me who run that, I was like, I'm going to do this whether you're okay with it or not. And it's because the officers like it. Like, I am willing to get in trouble for this. I'm happy to sit here and have you yell at me for me spending this amount of money doing it. But I'm going to do it. So you can either say yes or you can yell at me later. But it's going to happen.
Well,
and everybody's like, you know what? That's a really good idea. Go ahead.
And I can't really say that I can't speak for everybody that got it. But I can tell you from my personal opinion, like, people can call off, right? If they didn't want to show up because they wanted a turkey sandwich, like me, they could. But they showed up to work, and I can't think of any better way to say thank you than, hey, I know you're missing Thanksgiving dinner.
So
here's a Thanksgiving dinner. So thank you so much for thinking about our officers and taking time out of your holiday, which you didn't have to do. So thank you for that.
And I would absolutely love to say that I came up with this idea on my own. I stole it from one of my bosses in the past. There was a Thanksgiving, we were working, and we shouldn't have been. The business was supposed to close, but
last minute it stayed open.
Yeah. And so we were sitting there, and it was just me and him because we were non-billable. We were both salary. And so we sent all of the hourly employees home. We were like, you guys get to enjoy the day. We'll suffer here. And we were sitting there. Nobody showed up. Nobody, like, no business, 0. And I look at him, and I was like, and at the time I had a fiance and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'm missing Thanksgiving for this. And he goes, no, we're not. And he closed the building down. Didn't ask, closed the building down. We walked out, and he took me to Thanksgiving.
Oh, that was so sweet.
This was a long, long time ago. And the only reason I had thought about it is because I was like, man, we got people working. And it was just like, you know what? I'm going to try this. So it was to him I got to give him the ultimate credit because he's the one who did it. He did it once. It was the only time we ever did it. And then after that, they were like, we're closing the entire thing down on Thanksgiving because we didn't get any business.
Yeah.
Everything was open. Nobody got anybody. And so, like, well, we just wasted a bunch of money. We're like, we tried to tell you, like, nobody was going to show up. And so we were never open again. But so it was the only time it was ever done for me. But it meant
made an impact.
My boss legitimately walked up to me and was like, dude, we've been dead for 6 hours. He was like, we're done. He goes, shut everything down, close everything out. And as we walk out, and he goes, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I got a dinner in 4 hours. He goes, let's go to lunch. And then we started at 5 in the morning, and I think we closed out at 11:30, something like that. And he goes, what are you doing? He goes, what are you doing this afternoon? I was like, I got dinner with a fiance and her family and everything like that. And he goes, what are you doing now? I was like, nothing. I'm going to go home. I'm going to change out of this, and I'm going to wait for dinner. And he goes, let's go to lunch. And he put it on the company card, and he had the company paid. It was like to me, it was at the time the coolest thing ever. My boss took me out to go eat Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those like random thoughts I had thought about that Thanksgiving. I was just like,
Yeah.
it made a huge impact for me. Let me try it. And it was a rousing success that year.
And I love so much that you've been allowed to continue that tradition. I think it's great, and it shows appreciation in a way. Yeah, without getting yelled at, it shows appreciation in a way that just doesn't happen often in speaking from experience, companies I've been with. So,
but see, and
I love it.
We as Titan have continued similar traditions to that with like the Christmas party. Now we didn't do it for a couple of years because of COVID and everything. But we had a thing with a Christmas party, and you absolutely took it and ran with it and made it just this ultimate thing that was so much better than I've ever been to.
I am extra.
Just saying. That's an understatement.
I'm extra.
But to show that that's in our opinion how we show face and be like, hey, this is our thank you to you guys. But when it comes to the holidays, for you guys working the locations, to get back on topic. It's very similar, we're showing that face, and that's the expectation is you show them that grace of that they're people. You understand that they might be going through something, they might be having a bad day. It might be a really bad time of year for them. I have a couple of friends. This is not their holiday. They don't do well with Christmas. They do well with every other holiday, but this one in particular, it's not their time. And to say, hey, I understand you might be going through something. I get that, but we gotta figure out what we're doing right now because we're somewhere right now that we shouldn't be. And to have that, it's an amazing tool.
Well, and another thing to keep in mind too is like it's just kind of universally known that this time of year, especially in the Midwest, this is when mental health takes a big hit too because the sunshine is gone. We rarely see it. It's usually pretty groggy and cold, and that's the time when people don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to get out of their pajamas, and it's soup weather.
Nobody's like me. I like this type of weather. It's great.
So, keep that in mind too, because the person you might be seeing now is maybe not who they typically are. Seasonal depression, as well as some other mental health effects.
I have a friend who's got that, and he's got a little, it's called a sunlight, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
It's a little light that he has in when he's sitting at home, it follows him what room he's in. And it's called, I think it's called a sunlight lamp.
It is. They do. And they
called?
actually have them where they'll do like a sunrise schedule.
His does.
So, yeah.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
I've heard such great things about them.
Makes him a whole different person.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy when he had it, when he first got it, we were like, come on. But it gives the same light, the same light tone.
Ambience.
Yeah, that the sun would. And at the time he was not working from home, but he was home due to some stuff. And I'd gone down to visit him, and it was set time. And this, in my opinion at the time, this stupid light was sitting in his living room up against where his TV was. And that thing was bright. And all of a sudden it starts to go down like a sunset. And I was like, what the heck is going on? He goes, oh, that's my sunlight lamp. And I was like, and I was, what? And he goes, yeah. And he described it to me. And I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what? You do seem like you're in a better mood.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that,
it does make a difference.
You don't always know what someone's going through. And so taking that into account and knowing that if you jump up to their level because they're having a bad day, all you're going to do is make their day worse, make your day worse, and make it complicated when there's a simple way to keep it from being there. And so that type of stuff is amazing to be able to take into account and say, hey, I understand you might be having a bad day. Now, obviously, we're not going to use that verbiage, but just using that de-escalation to get them down to a normal level and be like, hey, I get it. This isn't who you are. This isn't normal for you. It's a bad time. But we can't be acting like that in public.
Yeah.
We're better than that.
Reacting out of frustration, anger, and anxiety is sometimes a lot easier than reacting out of kindness, especially when someone is diskind to you. But the reacting out of kindness and understanding is far more fruitful than you will ever see reacting out of frustration and anger.
So if you guys have any questions on holiday stuff, let us know. That's what we want to answer some questions if you guys have any. But other than that, that's really all I had. I just kind of want to give you guys a little talk about how to handle situations a little bit more during the holiday seasons, what to look out for, things like that, and things to be aware of. The holiday seasons can be rough. We just want to take that into account when we're talking to people, and we want to make sure that we're being fair. We're not jumping up a level that we don't need to because they were mean to me. Well, people are always going to be mean to security officers, law enforcement, anything like that because we're wearing a uniform. And the uniform shows authority, and someone in a bad mood is going to take it out on you because you're the one who can take it. And that doesn't deserve us getting mad at them or returning fire. We need to be able to say, hey, I can take this, but we need to calm down. We need to bring it back.
Yeah. Well, and something too, Titans, we definitely want you to know is we are aware that this season affects everybody, and that includes you. So if this is a tough season for you, we do have resources. We do have people that you can call and talk to. And I think it's really crucial that everybody knows that. You are not alone. You have a whole family here. And if there's anything that any of us can do to help you get through this season, if it's a tough season, or anything that's going on, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are here for each and every one of you. We just need you to let us know.
Absolutely.
And if you have any questions as far as like the resources we have, please feel free to reach out to myself, or you are welcome to reach out to HR, and we can make sure that you have all the contacts for people to speak with.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, I don't really have anything. So if you guys got any questions, let us know. Dylan, thanks for joining us. Dylan, I will see you here in a few hours. I remembered. I didn't forget. Dylan got mad at me. I think it was, I don't remember how long ago it was. Dylan, you can remind us if you want. I forgot about him. He was set up with an appointment to come see me, and it was, I think it was a Friday too. And
did he sit downstairs for a minute?
He did. He absolutely did. I had already left. I had to go handle something. Something personal came up, dealing with something that I haven't made public to a lot of people. And my brain kind of shut off because I was dealing with that. I left, went and handled it, and I was like, I think I'm done for the day. And I started driving home, and I was like a minute from the house, and I got the call. And it was like, hey, did you forget about me? And I was like, oh.
Yep,
I was like, I did.
Sorry.
I absolutely did.
Well, and that's the thing. Like here.
And he was so nice about it too. He's like, it's okay. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry. I'll flip around, I promise. And he's like, no, we'll set it up. And so now he's coming today, and I'm not forgetting about you.
Well, and ideally we can set up the perfect day. Like I'm going to meet this person at this time. And then, you know,
sure did.
When things happen. And your day, especially yours, the captains, the LTs, the majors, like, and chief, like the days can change in just a moment. And any plans you have, your plans.
So this whole week I had plans to do some stuff, get some normal stuff done, some other things taken care of. And all of that went to the back burner, and like everything was like, okay, well, we're going this direction now. And it's like, oh, really? Okay, hold on. I got to readjust. I was not expecting that. So, you know, it's not an excuse. It happens sometimes. You know, we're all human. I am particularly forgetful with small stuff like that, unfortunately, which is why I try to set myself multiple reminders. I even told Dylan I have a reminder set up to pop up big old bold letters, don't forget and don't leave.
Don't forget, Dylan. Yeah, I do.
As long as I get my bottle signed, you have been officially forgiven.
Oh, is he buying a coupe cup?
No, he gets one.
Oh, fancy.
So McFarland put me in a bad position with those, and I was going to give out 2. McFarland decided to give out 3. Preacher, by the way, if you watch this after the fact, I don't know if you reached out to April.
He has. Yes, I have his.
Okay.
It's been a little while the last 2 weeks since the drawing, so
We'll get you that.
I have it ready to go. Just waiting on UPS to kick it out the door.
Oh, you already got it done and everything?
I took it to UPS today.
Look at you. Yay. There you go, Preacher. Fantastic. So there's that. That's awesome. I didn't even know you'd gone that far with it. Thank you.
Yes. Well, what's funny is I've actually had, from the day that you told me about it, like the day after, I've had the coupe cup with the address on a Post-it.
Yeah.
In my car since that day, but so I did the Christmas party, and there was like Sam's, and there was this place and this place. There was so much stuff in my car.
It got lost.
And it did momentarily. I mean, it's safe. It's nice. It looks good. It is safe, or was. But so yeah,
well, it still is. It's just not in our possession anymore.
Correct. So I'm like cleaning out the car, which I still haven't completely cleaned it out from the Christmas party. I would just like to add that. Cleaned it out, and I was like, why do I have this? And then I look and I was like, oh. Oops. So it is on its way, Preacher. For that, I do apologize for the delay.
Thank you for your patience on that, Preacher. We really, really appreciate it. But other than that, I don't really have anything for you guys. I appreciate all of you guys for everything you do, for working on the holidays, working off the holidays. You know, it allows us to continue to do stuff like this, and allows me to continue to come on this podcast and make a fool of myself sometimes, and to bring on special guests and to have April and other supervisors and officers and everything that way. You know, if you guys like the episode we had with Officer Carter, let me know. I'd like to do another one of those, but I want to make sure that you guys like it and it's something you guys want to see more of. We've got a couple of new supervisors that we want to bring on at some point, so we'll have those guys on as well and introduce them and have them up here so we can have them embarrass themselves or embarrass us at the same time. But yeah, so we appreciate it so much, guys. I can't thank you guys enough for everything. It allows us, like I said, to continue to do this stuff. So we'll hop into the weather real quick. And what we're looking at right now is 44 on Saturday, 54 on Sunday. Looking at 40 on Monday. Ooh, it's going to be sunny, but still cold. 50 on Tuesday, 56 on Wednesday. We got a 58 on Thursday and 58 on Friday with some showers. And then 55 on Saturday. So it's staying in the cooler temperatures. It's starting to drop a little bit with those 40 degrees in there with a little bit of rain closer to the end of the week. So make sure we're dressing for the weather, guys. Make sure we're wearing the Under Armour, a little bit thicker undershirts. You know, we are still working on jackets, but if you guys haven't reached out to April to let her know that you need them, please let her know. And as soon as we have them in stock and she's got your size, she will reach back out to you and let you know that it's here.
I did send out an email reminder a couple days ago. If you have not received it, send me your sizes. I did get a few responses. I have sizes coming in kind of
sporadically.
Yeah. But I am getting them, and then I'm getting them assigned, and we'll have them out to you, or you guys will be able to come in and get them as soon as possible. I apologize for the delay. It's just that season where everybody's ordering jackets.
And the funny thing is jackets are always hard. I've run into this when I was doing the uniform stuff.
Even in the summer.
Years. Jackets are always hard, and I don't know why, but for some reason it seems like there are never enough. And no matter how much we struggle and fight, it just seems like we can never get enough. And it's something we struggle with. We've done much better this year now that April has taken that and ran with it, because she has a little bit more flexibility and play in that, and she's able to talk a little bit better to some of these vendors and stuff. They like her attitude better than they do mine. I'm very straightforward, very to the point.
What are you trying to say? I'm straightforward.
Yeah, but you're nicer about it.
I'm just...
It's the voice.
I also think it's the frugality too, because I will never pay the ticket price on anything.
Yeah.
So there is always room for negotiation. That's just the reality of sales. So, yeah.
So
I'm a cheapskate.
We appreciate it, guys, so much. Thank you so much for everything. I didn't bring my bottle in because it's empty. I forgot to fill it with water. But remember, hydration is key. We hydrate the day before, not the day of. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.